Alright, it's vacation time and many of you probably want or are already flying to some distant destination. Therefore, many of you probably are also looking for a carry-on bag. I won't be traveling anytime soon, but I have a lot of amazing carry-on bags waiting to be reviewed, but also waiting for me to kind of test when traveling. So instead of just having those bags lying around, let's take a look at some of the bags that I have here waiting for a review and decide which of these bags I will be using whenever I might be able to travel again. Yeah, economy isn't that great, so I won't be flying anytime soon, but it's fun to maybe check out a bag that I might be using for some future vacation. Furthermore, because this is not a review, this is a first look where I potentially will be a little bit nitpicking, but I think that is important to kind of evaluate which of these bags might be the best suited for me. And on my second channel, I basically have been practicing quite a lot, talking in front of the camera without any edits and doing these one-take vlogs. Maybe check out my second channel in the info tab above. I do daily vlogs about how to start a YouTube channel, why to start a YouTube channel, and maybe you will enjoy those videos as well. And in my videos 2 or 3 videos ago, I did this first impression quick look video about the Orbit key, where I moved from the Evergoods Cap 2 to the Orbit key 2-in-1 video that I also did in one take. And some of you really liked this very uninterrupted approach because you were able to see my thought process in basically real time without any edits. And with this in mind, I will not edit those first impression parts. However, this will become a very long video, so don't forget there will be chapter markers in the description below, and I will give myself only 10 minutes for each bag so this video doesn't get completely out of hand. It probably is already like 40 minutes long basically if I have 10 minutes for each bag. Alright, so with that out of the way, don't forget first impressions, no edits, there will be chapter markers, and I want to use this opportunity to kind of find out which bag I will use whenever I might be able to travel again. Alright, now let's go to the first impressions of this carry-on roundup video. Here on the side, overall I have 5 carry-on bags. Again, this is the first impression for me to kind of evaluate which bag I like the best and which bag I potentially want to use for my upcoming travel if I have any vacation in the future. Also, to be able to give you the most honest first impression, I will not edit any of these parts, so you can really see my honest impression without any interruption. But because these are 5 bags, this will be a very long video, so feel free to use the chapter markers, and more importantly, I will give every single bag only 10 minutes for kind of having a first impression, so keep that in mind. Alright, let's put 10 minutes on the clock and start with the first bag. This bag is amazing in terms of color. I love X-Pack because you can use different colors. I know people like black bags. Personally, I like colors in bags. It just puts a little bit more variety, and this orange or coyote, tan or whatever it might be looks amazing. This is the Aero travel backpack, 35 liters, and just with the other packed bags, this is a clamshell backpack but in a suitcase style, which I will show you in just a second. But I will want to get over some of the outer things first for the first impressions. Here we have a back panel that some of you might consider a little bit too not padded, but in my humble opinion this is a very good balance, because I feel that if something is too padded, it can become a little bit too bulky and therefore make it a little bit more difficult to slide underneath a seat in front of you or in the overhead compartment. Plus, I feel like if there is a lot of bulky padding with bulky shoulder straps, bulky back panel, load lifters, some air or flight attendants could perceive it as a very big and bulky bag and might ask you to check it in, especially with international flights where they sometimes are a little bit more stricter. The shoulder straps are wide and I assume they would be comfortable, but again, just like the back panel, they aren't as thick. But because they are wider, they have a little bit more area on your shoulders to kind of connect and kind of make it much more comfortable to carry. I usually don't use waist belts, so I really like that you can detach this one. But for those of you who like waist belts, these might be a little bit too simplistic. Now, before going inside the main compartment, I do like that we have a couple of front quick access compartments. This one is really cool. You can organize a lot of stuff inside. This is pretty cool. I don't really like that you don't have a dual zipper. However, here is a loop lashing point where you can potentially kind of lock them. I personally want to lock some of these quick access compartments because if these would be in the overhead compartment of an airplane and I might be sleeping, I don't want anyone to rummage around my quick access compartment. So being able to kind of lock them would be great. Here's another small little compartment. I like that this is expanding to the outside and not into the main compartment. Now let's open up this clamshell style, briefcase style opening. This is something that I really love about the bags from Pakt. No matter if it's a duffel bag or a backpack, it has always the suitcase style approach. I also love this in the Bellroy light travel pack that I utilized for my trip to Thailand to the Muay Thai camp. Having these two separate compartments is great to organize all of your items. And honestly, purely out of the fact that I had a similar experience in my Bellroy light travel backpack, I can kind of see that I like this a lot, especially with the colors. Here, having a compartment that is not see-through for some privacy, maybe if you have some, I don't know, underwear and you don't really want other people to see all of your mess inside this, I kind of like this. There is, I guess this is a laptop slot. Is there a laptop slot? Let's double check. Yeah. No, that's not a laptop slot. Okay, you can store your laptop here, I assume. And it would be protected from both sides, so that is really cool. There is a top access, which I first thought this would be a laptop slot, but it goes into this main compartment. Not really sure why that is the design decision. A hidden pocket for your passport, maybe? So no quick access to your laptop if you're going through TSA. So you basically have to open up the main compartment slightly and then get to your laptop this way. So I assume that some of you won't like this that much. Granted, you could kind of store your laptop in here as well, but then all of the stuff that would be in this main compartment, maybe clothing that you don't want to utilize with a packing cube, would be here in the way. So not really sure why you would want that kind of access. This front compartment I've just seen has a similar access inside from the top here. So you can utilize this kind of in a, let's say, top loading capacity. So that is really cool, but again, I don't really like having the laptop compartment here in the middle and be a little bit more difficult to access. Furthermore, if you have some, let's say, hard items in here, imagine you have your electrical toothbrush in here with a hard case, it's here. Then when you close it up and your laptop is in here, while this has some padding, it would create a pressure point against your laptop. I don't really like that, to be quite honest. I value my laptop a lot. It is an important tool for me. So yeah, you would need to be very careful how you load it up inside this bag. So be careful about what kind of hard items you would have in this compartment, but also in the other one, because your laptop would be wedged in between those hard items and potentially your clothing. And then it would create some pressure points, maybe against your display. And if something hard would press against your display for an 8-hour flight, for example, that cannot be great for your laptop. You have a water bottle slot here, which I do like, but I usually don't like to utilize because I fear that if I had to be running from one gate to another, this could fall out. So because there is a lashing point here, if I had the water bottle in here, I would kind of secure it onto this lashing point. So this is good to have, that there is a lashing point. Do you have any secret pockets, maybe for your passport? No, you don't. But you can store away your shoulder straps. You can detach them here and put them in here. So that is pretty cool. But not having a secret pocket for your passport or any other valuables when you're going through the TSA check. Yes, you can put it here, but sometimes I would rather have like a secret pocket. Yes, there is one pocket here in this part, but it's not as secret. Oh, it is secret. Yeah, you can kind of store it in there. So with that out of the way, I think this bag is really cool. I do like the color. The construction is amazing. To be fair, all of the bags that Pakt made are always very well made. And this briefcase style clamshell opening is amazing. I would have loved that some of these zippers would have had some form of way to secure them, because yes, I'm a little bit paranoid, but I do prefer being able to lock all of the zippers, especially if I potentially am not that careful when I store this away. Oh, by the way, considering that you can store away the shoulder straps, these side handles, they're really flimsy. Again, just like the back panel, I feel like some parts need to be a little bit minimalistic, so it is easier to store away underneath a seat, but this is just too flimsy. I don't like this at all. There is a top handle that is a little bit more padded, but I want and I prefer side handles because I am a short person, and when I carry a longish bag on the top handle and I walk stairs, I sometimes bump against the bottom part of the stairs and that's not that great. So I rather have side handles, and these are, in my humble opinion, way too flimsy. I would have loved a padded one. But I understand that from a simplistic standpoint, to make it easier to slide underneath a seat, you want to keep this a little bit minimal. But yeah, this bag looks amazing, and I think this could be the bag that I would like to use for a carry-on bag. But let's see what the others hold in place. And wow, that was really good. I actually was able to finish this in less than 10 minutes. So let's see if I can keep it up. I don't know the pricing of this bag. Let me just switch off that alarm. So I assume, and I'm not 100% sure, but this could be one of the pricier ones in this lineup of carry-on bags. So I want to showcase a cheaper version, or a budget-friendly version. Tomtoc has been on the scene for a while, and they have been very impressive with their build quality in combination with a very competitive price point. So I feel like this could be the carry-on bag for a lot of people, just because it has a good balance of a very competitive price and really good build quality, at least from the bags that I know that I've seen from Tomtoc. So let's put 10 minutes on the clock and let's start the first impressions. Now, this is the let's open this up. This is the, I forgot the name. T33, I think. T66. Sorry about that. T66. And just like I've said, the initial impressions in terms of build quality is quite impressive. Again, I don't know the price, but from what I've known with the Tomtoc lineup, they have a very competitive price point. Does this look good? no, it looks kind of like a box or like a bag that delivery services usually use to kind of deliver food. So yeah, that doesn't look that great. Before I go into the main compartment, let's look what we have out here. But the build quality, the choice of materials are impressive. The zippers feel great, and I like that these are a little bit beefier. You have a top opening, top loading. Oh no, hold on. You can open this up. Oh, this opens up duffel style. Oh, okay. Okay, let's close this one here so I get a better understanding. Oh, this is a duffel style carry-on bag. Okay, this is really cool. So in terms of differentiating features, this is a duffel style carry-on. I do like that. So if you want this kind of packing style, this is actually pretty cool. So compared to top loading and clamshell, duffel style to me is like a top loading opening in a way that you kind of load it up from bottom to the top, but with a much bigger opening and therefore much easier access to everything without having a clamshell that kind of... The downside of clamshell basically is if you open up a clamshell, there is the risk of everything toppling out. With the top loading bag, the negatives is that you have a quite small opening and don't necessarily get to anything that is at the bottom quick. With the duffel style, it kind of combines both worlds. It has a big opening, but nothing topples out because you lay it flat, and then you still can easily rummage around to find stuff that is at the bottom. I like that a lot. You have a quick access compartment here on the side. I kind of wish that there would be some mesh pockets here. But yeah, you close up this duffel style, secure it with these compression straps, and depending on how much you have inside, you can compress it more. You have a water bottle, a very small water bottle slot. It doesn't go in deep, so I assume if you have a big water bottle, then it would kind of stick out a little bit here to the top, but this compression strap would keep it in place as well. Now, what's this pocket here? This is clamshell style as... No, not... It is... Is it clamshell style? Yes, somewhat clamshell. Oh, okay, so this is clamshell style, but for the laptop compartment. So laptop compartment here, which is suspended. So that is really great if you go through the TSA check. Then you have a mesh pocket here, which I would have loved in the other one, or which I would have loved here at the top. What's this? Okay. Okay, so you can access the main compartment, the duffel style main compartment, from this side as well. So that is actually a really cool idea. And having this red pull tab, just like on the one with Provoke, there is also a pocket where you kind of pull there and then it opens up the zipper. I do like that. That is a cool little small design choice. I do like that. What I do notice here though is in this inside, I don't want to say this is cheaply made. This still feels very durable, but something about the way it feels and this interior fabric and just this one stitching here. I'm not saying this is fragile. It just doesn't feel as high quality or as premium as I felt on the Pakt bag. But again, Tomtoc has a very competitive price point. So I do understand that you have to kind of look for some places to save some cost. And put those into these YKK. Yeah, the zipper. I mean, everything else is very high quality. YKK zippers that you can lock. Here's another top quick access compartment that feels good. The top grab panel is very beefy and feels very comfortable. But just like the other bag, oh no, here's the side handle. Oh, that's good. So at least there is a side handle that is somewhat padded. The back panel, holy crap. Wow, these are like the widest shoulder straps that I've ever seen on such in air quotes, small bag. But if you fill it up completely, I don't know, how many liters does this have in capacity? I don't know. Oh, by the way, this is the Tomtoc Recycled collection made out of 30 recycled PET bottles. That's pretty cool, actually. Tough YKK zippers. So maybe the inside, I perceive it as not as premium because it is recycled fabric. Not sure, but again, with the pricing, I feel like that is totally fine by me. This is very beefy and padded, and I assume that this will be extremely comfortable to carry around. But I also assume that this will be so big and bulky once you load it out that it will be difficult to fit underneath your airplane seat in front of you. So this would be something that you would need to store in the overhead compartment, but I'm totally fine with that. And if you are looking for something that is different than a regular backpack, and this being a duffel style, I feel like this is a very good alternative. However, I personally am of the belief I want something to look good and to feel good, because I have a much better interaction and it feels fun to use it. I know for some people it might sound weird that a bag should be fun to use, but for me as a bag enthusiast, I want something that looks good and that is fun to use. And I feel like this is a very utilitarian bag. It will get a lot of items from A to B with, I assume, a lot of comfort and at a very competitive price point that is very well made. So with that in mind, it is a great bag. But for me, just because, and I know this is very like shallow, for me this doesn't look that good. It looks, as I said, utilitarian. And yeah, at the moment, I would say this is a really good, budget-friendly alternative or recommendation from first impressions with all of these bags in mind. But for me, this probably is not it, just purely because it doesn't look that great. But wow, the build quality and this unique approach to a carry-on backpack, because I assume none of these other bags have a duffel style. This is really cool, actually. All right, the Tomtoc T66, if I'm not completely mistaken. Oh, they have a 2-year warranty. That's also really good. That's impressive. Good on you, Tomtoc. I applaud you for being able to make these bags with such an impressive build quality at a very competitive price point. All right, again, I was able to make it under 10 minutes. That's amazing. All right, let's stop that and go to the next one. And this probably is one of the 2 fan favorites, I assume. This bag is from Evergoods. I love Evergoods. I'm a huge fan of Evergoods. I'm probably going into this first impressions with somewhat of a bias, just because I love Evergoods bags so much. This is the Civic Travel Bag 20 liters. Now, put 10 minutes on the clock and let's start this. Okay, this is a new fabric to me. For me personally, I love the fabric of the Civic Book Bag and the PLC 20 the most. This fabric has a little bit more of a shine to it and feels much smoother, not as rough. And therefore, I assume this will be much easier to wipe off dirt. And I feel like that with a travel bag, that is somewhat important, because you will probably abuse it a lot. And if you put it underneath an airplane seat, there is a high risk of some scratches or dirt coming on this. Just like all of the other Evergoods bags, the build quality is amazing. And just from holding this, I can totally tell this is very well made as well. You cannot fault Evergoods for their build quality. Honestly, I personally believe that Evergoods bags will hold up a lifetime. They cost a little bit more, but it's a lifetime investment in my humble opinion. Obviously, I'm just over 40. I have not tested any bag for a lifetime. And truth to be told, since COVID, economy wasn't great, so I'm not able to fly or travel that much. So take that with a grain of salt. I don't know if any of these bags can hold up a lifetime because I'm just not traveling that much and I'm not that old. But I believe the build quality is great. That being said, just compared to the one from Pakt, I do think this looks a little bit boring. I love the look of the Civic book bag. I love the look of the Panel Loader Classic 20, but this, just like the Tomtoc, looks a little bit utilitarian. But I assume the features are amazing. So you have a top-loading quick access compartment here. Unfortunately, not really with a way to lock the zipper, but you could kind of lock these two zippers together because this one opens to the bottom, and I do like this a lot, with a few slots to kind of utilize the whole vertical space here. So that is really amazing. You have a mesh pocket here. I kind of would have wished that this mesh pocket would be here at the top and these open slots would be at the bottom, because in these slots items could slide out. So if that would be at the bottom and the zippered one here, it would be better in my humble opinion. Key leash, so I do like that. Then before going inside, we have a laptop slot, suspended and well padded. I do like that, but nothing out of the ordinary. Water bottle slots on the outside, left and right, with a really good side handle. Evergoods has really good side and top handles. I like these a lot. And then you have the main compartment with a very beefy YKK zipper that you can open up clamshell style with two zippered pockets. One a little bit more for privacy, not being able to see inside. Another one with mesh, so you can see what you put in here. And let me just double check. As far as I can tell, it does a little bit expand to the inside. So anything that you put here will somewhat take away volume of the main compartment, but these pockets are great to store away your most valuable things or small items and still keep everything organized, but you can see it. This pocket here is also great for your passport and your valuables when you're going through TSA check, because it will have two zippers. So for me personally, when you are at the TSA check, you are at risk for those opportunistic thefts where a thief sees something just lying in those plastic bins and then he or she grabs it and runs away. Having two zippers, one of them potentially being able to lock, gives less likeliness for someone picking something up, because that person would need to open up one zipper and then the next zipper, and that will pretty much noticeable at the TSA check. Same thing if this would be in the overhead compartment. I assume no one will get to this pocket quickly, especially if you can lock the main zipper. In this pocket you actually have two small little slots to organize your stuff. I do like that a lot. And as I said, just like any other bag from Evergoods, you basically always know what you get, and you just know it will be an investment for your life. I just would have wished that this would be less utilitarian looking and there would be a little bit more fun in this bag. For example, maybe keep everything black on the outside, but have a different color for the interior fabric. But I know that this is kind of the corporate identity of Evergoods, black with silver inside. But if I would use this, I probably would switch out all of these zipper pulls with some colored zippers. If I would be nitpicking, I feel like these zipper pulls are extremely boring. This is basically just some fabric pulled through the zipper and then into a knot. This is really boring. I would have wished something more creative. But again, this would make it a little bit more easier to change this out for your personal zipper pulls. But other than that, being it looking a little bit utilitarian, the zipper pulls not being that great, to be honest. And oh yeah, I would have loved strap-and organizers. Not sure if there were strap-and organizers on the other two bags before, but yeah, I do wish there would be strap-and organizers, because this is stuff that could just like get snagged underneath an airplane seat and would make it difficult to kind of pull it out. So having good strap-and organizers would be amazing. But oh, here's, almost forgot that one. Here's another quick access compartment in the top. This would be great for me to store my DJI Pocket 3 into, to quickly grab it if I want to vlog something. So this is a cool quick access pocket actually. But yeah, this does, I mean, if you want a solid recommendation, because it is simple in a very good way, because simple means that it doesn't force you to adapt to its packing style. If you want something that is high quality made and will hold up a lifetime, for my personal build, I'm 170 centimeters tall, or short basically, and I weigh 63.5 kilograms. So for me, the bags from Evergoods always have been comfortable. So if you want something that's durable, that's comfortable to carry, that has a good amount of features without overwhelming you, without forcing you to change the packing style, Evergoods is a solid recommendation. That being said, personally, while I love Evergoods and I really like all of the other Evergoods bags, especially in the everyday carry lineup, I feel this one looks a little bit boring, and I would have loved this to be, yeah, somewhat, it's lacking something in terms of looks, you know? But yeah, wow. Okay, I'm able to keep the time frame. 1 minute left, so that is good. If I would say, to use this last 1 minute, between the three bags that I've now looked at, I would say this is in second place. So at the moment, Pakt at first place because of the color and this briefcase style opening. Evergoods in the second because of the durability, the feature set, and I love Evergoods. But overall, it's a great bag, just don't prefer the looks. And in last place, the Tomtoc, just because I don't like the look that much. All right. Now, before I go to the next fan favorite, which would be able carry, I want to check out this bag from Stubble & Co. because I feel like this is the most unique bag. So put 10 minutes on the clock and let's start. This bag from Stubble & Co. I forgot the name, let me double check. What's the name? The wheeled Kitbag 40 liter. This probably is not the carry-on bag for most situations. I'm not 100% sure if this will be able to fit the requirements of all of the carry-on specifications. But what I loved about this bag is, just as the name implied, this is a rolling suitcase as well as a backpack. And I think this is so amazing because there are so many times where I cannot decide between a backpack and wheeled luggage. With the wheeled luggage, you obviously have the comfort of not kind of having something heavy on your back. But the downside of, oh no, I need to run fast to wherever. a backpack for me personally is much easier to run with than with a rolling luggage. So having the option to also carry this in backpack mode is amazing. And you only have 2 wheels here, which don't roll that well. The bearings, aren't the bearings like oiled? But wow, this ain't great. But yeah, why don't you roll that well? I don't know. This bag feels pretty good. This feels like the tarpaulin of their other kit bag that I reviewed previously with my loadout for Muay Thai. So it's probably not as comfortable on your back. But with all of the hybrids, you always need to take into consideration that due to it being hybrid, there is somewhat lost because you obviously want to kind of cater to multiple situations. So because this is rolling, the back panel won't be that comfortable. This handle feels extremely well made and solid considering this is a hybrid. This is really cool. You have 3 different heights. You have a good side handle, top handle, and another side handle here. To be fair, this is kind of bulky. This probably won't be that great on your back, but just having the option to use this as a rolling case, but also using this as a backpack in a pinch, I feel like this is probably 80% I would use this as a rolling case and 20% as a backpack. You have a front zippered compartment, which just like on their kit bag, I did not like that much because you cannot lock this. So just on the kit bag with this bag as well, I would be a little bit hesitant to check it in just because there are a couple of pockets that you cannot lock. So if you would check this in, I would be afraid that someone either steals something out of one of these pockets, making them, for me personally, unusable if I wanted to check this in. But more importantly, there is the risk of someone dropping something in. Imagine like an AirTag being put in here, you don't notice it, and someone is tracking you. That is actually something where you could be at risk in terms of, oh, okay, that person is not at home, so I can kind of be in there. Or if someone kind of drops in something illegal because he or she wants to get rid of that stuff. So that's something to keep in mind. This top quick access compartment is also great, but it expands into the main compartment. So now let's go into the main compartment. And this zipper opens up like so. So yeah, this is basically just like a duffel bag, a big compartment where you can store all of your items, suitcase style, then have a compression, how do you call this? Compression band here. I feel like it wouldn't be great to keep all of your items in place, to be honest, because everything could fall on these sides. So it would be great to utilize packing cubes. You have a zippered pocket here with a cool orange in the lining. I would have loved if everything would be orange. That would have looked so much better. But other than that, there is nothing in here. So a big duffel style compartment that would be great to kind of store all of your items in. But in this style, I probably would utilize packing cubes because this is much bigger than the Tomtoc one. You can detach the shoulder straps. This could be great if you would need to kind of check this bag in. Also would make it a little bit more easier to store it in the overhead compartment because these wouldn't kind of snag against anything. Obviously, this would not fit underneath the airplane seat in front of you. But yeah, I really like this approach of being dual purpose, rolling, but also backpack style. Again, I'm not sure if this would be fitting for a carry-on bag because it does look a little bit big. Probably not as big as other rolling cases, but keep in mind, with hard shell cases, it is much easier to fit them into those kind of measuring thingies, and probably also easier to put it in the overhead compartment. And this, just because it's soft, because it has a lot of like bulkier elements to it, I feel like it could be perceived as bigger than a carry-on bag, and more importantly, potentially it won't fit into those measuring things where it says like, oh, does your bag fit in here? If yes, you can use it as carry-on. If not, you need to check it in. And if you get into the risk of checking it in, I really dislike that you cannot lock all of these compartments. You only can lock these main zippers, but not these two. Oh, I just noticed it does not have a dedicated laptop slot. So you would need to put your laptop in the main compartment. There is a zippered pocket here at the top, but I would not put my laptop in here because it would always be at risk of someone bumping against this. Okay, this is close to your bag if you use it in backpack mode, but if it would be in the overhead compartment, and some people are very careless, they just throw their bags on top of your bag. So if your laptop would be here at the top and someone throws something on top there, your laptop is at risk of being bumped against that. Many of the laptops are durable, but still, I don't want my expensive laptop to be kind of bumped against. So that is definitely a downside. But I applaud Stubble & Co. for having this very unique bag. I really like this a lot. And I feel like if I would not be traveling with a plane, maybe traveling by train, I think I would go with this bag. I think this is really cool, just because I have this dual purpose mechanism. Especially in the train, sometimes you just want to carry something in backpack mode because you have to maneuver small areas, going from one escalator to the next to get to your gate and stuff like that. I really like this. For plane travel, probably not, but I applaud Stubble & Co. for being this unique. These aren't YKK zippers, by the way, but from my impression from testing the Kitbag, these are very durable. Overall, the bag feels very durably made. And yes, you could argue this doesn't feel that great because this is this tarpaulin, like kind of stretch onto some hard material, but it is, I understand why you need to do it this way. Because this is a hybrid, so it cannot be as kind of stiff as other rolling cases, but obviously it cannot be as soft like a backpack because this has to have some rigidness for this being a rolling case. So sorry about that. In the last 10 seconds of the Stubble & Co. part, the battery of my XM5 died, so I had to switch that out. But as I said, Stubble & Co. really unique design. Probably won't use this for flying, but if I would go by car or by train, this would be amazing. Now, getting to the last bag of this lineup, this one is from Able Carry, and Able Carry is also one of my favorite brands. So yeah, I like what they're doing a lot, and I assume that many of you will like this bag a lot. So put 10 minutes on the clock, and this is the Able Carry Max backpack in the new version. I already reviewed the Able Carry Max a while ago, so if you want to check out that review, look in the info tab above. Back then I reviewed the, I think it was Coyote or the green version, and I do love their colors, and it's kind of a shame that this one is only, if I'm not mistaken, only available in black. So I would have loved this in a different color. But what's new about this is, if I'm not completely mistaken, you can kind of expand this and maybe go wing over the compartments first, just like the Pakt X-Pack design. So again, I would have loved a different color. The build quality is amazing, like always with Able Carry. They have amazing bags. So the side opening front compartment is actually big enough to utilize as, let's say, secondary main compartment, but it has some side slot. And what I love about them, opposed to the one from Evergoods, the zippered compartment here is on the top, so whatever you put inside won't kind of slide out, and then the open slot here at the bottom. So when you fill up these slots, it will utilize the whole vertical space. So usually if you don't have these kind of slots in there, everything will just slide to the bottom and accumulate here and bulk up in that space. I don't like that. So having these vertically aligned slots is amazing. Then you have a water bottle slot that is somewhat internal, or you can leave open, or you can close up, so nothing, it looks better basically. But if you put a small water bottle in here, you also do not get in the risk that if you need to run, it won't fall out. But more importantly, if it would leak, nothing will leak inside, despite this kind of occupying some volume of the main compartment. That's the only downside with these style of water bottle slots, that they utilize some of the volume inside. Now, then you have a quick access slot here on the side. Basically, if you go through TSA, this would be a great place to store your wallet or your other small valuable items that you don't want to keep inside those plastic bins. Really like this because it's somewhat hidden, but it is a dual zipper, so you could kind of lock them up. Then going to this front main compartment, it is clamshell style opening. I like this a lot. Just like the Evergoods, you have a top zippered compartment with kind of more privacy because you cannot look inside. Then a mesh compartment where you can store small items but somewhat still see what's in there. Opposed to the Evergoods, while this is clamshell, it kind of stops here at the 80% mark, so it doesn't like fully open up. Some people will like this, some don't, but I don't mind. So you have plenty of space. I would have loved a little bit more brighter inner lining. It just makes it easier to find stuff if it's brighter. But yeah, this grayish is good enough. I do like these beefy YKK zippers that you can actually lock, because there is like a small little loop here to lock that. Then you have this, that's this new feature. You can basically open up this like so, and this is kind of compression cube style. You know those compression cubes where you pack everything in? No, you open up the middle zipper, then you put everything in, and then you can close that middle zipper and it kind of compresses. This is not necessarily to compress the items inside, but to give you slightly more volume inside this main compartment. So I hope I can kind of illustrate this. When I did not open it up, it was, I would say, this is about 5 centimeters. So I was able, once I opened up the zipper, I give 5 centimeters more height in that direction, and giving me a couple of more liters in volume and capacity to load more items inside. That is actually a really good and useful feature. So when you close this up again, it makes it a little bit smaller. So what you could do, in theory, use this as carry-on bag with this compression thing opened up, giving you a lot of space to load up all of your clothing and stuff like that. Then when you are in a hotel, take all of the packing cubes out, close the compression cube, and use this as a day pack. Granted, this is a really big bag to utilize as a day pack when you're walking around the city, but it would still be possible, and it would give you a little bit smaller size. Here in the back, a dual AquaGuard zipper that is not completely clamshell and not just top loading, but it opens up, yeah, what do you call this? L-shape style, with a laptop slot that is suspended, well padded, having a tablet sleeve here, a pen slot here, and then a top zippered compartment here for small items like, for example, SSDs. Maybe I could also store a charger in here. That would be possible as well. So a lot of compartments that are really cool to organize all of your stuff. Again, I love Evergoods for their feature set, for their look and their design and build quality. But I think that's somewhat the theme of this. This is also, to me, a little bit utilitarian looking. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with that. If a bag is utilitarian looking, it is black, it is in air quotes a little bit boring looking, it is also less likely to attract the attention of people that you don't want the attention of. For example, thieves. A black bag won't attract attention. But on the flip side, if this is in a sea of black bags, you don't see your bag either. So I personally, for example, my check-in bag is this North Face bright yellow bag. I always see it in the crowd of the luggage belt. I see it right away. And I'm just at a point where I want something to look fun, to be fun when I use it. I feel like if it would be between this and the Evergoods, I would choose this because I feel like this is a little bit more fun to use. But it's just as boring looking as the Evergoods. But the feature set is a little bit more thought out, especially just this top part, you know, where the top zipper compartment will kind of prevent small items to fall down and accumulate here. I feel like this is a better arrangement of these two pockets to utilize the vertical space of this front pocket. You can organize your items very well. You have the expandability. I love X-Pack. Some of you don't like X-Pack for the noise. I don't mind it. So if it would be between this and the Evergoods, I would go with the Able Carry. If I had to choose between all of them, I would say the Pakt is my first choice. Then the Able Carry, then the Evergoods, then the Stubble & Co, and then the Tomtoc. If I had to give all of these bags some categories, I would say the Pakt is the most fun because of the color, the way it kind of opens and the way you could use it. The Able Carry is for anyone who doesn't want a lot of color but needs the expandability and wants a very solid but fun bag that holds up a lifetime. The Evergoods is the most durable bag, maybe a little bit boring. The Stubble & Co is the most unique because you can use it in wheel mode but also in backpack mode. And the Tomtoc is probably the most budget friendly. So yeah, I would love to know which of these bags do you like the best and which one would you choose? Let me know in the comment section below. As I said, I probably will use the Pakt first if I ever be able to travel. And yeah, if you want to see a different video about carry-on bags, check out the video up here. YouTube thinks that you like the video down here, and don't forget to subscribe by clicking the button up here. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you very much.